Hey everyone, this is Growth Beast, co-founder of Growth Stories, the first on-chain marketing newsletter and podcast in Web3. Today we're joined for a brand new season with Jason Goldberg, co-founder and CEO of Moxie and Airstack. They're basically two projects redefining how developers and users interact with the on-chain economy. So Jason, super happy to have you with us. I know we've been trying to get you on the podcast for a while, but it's finally happening.
Yeah, glad we're doing it. Airstack is the company and Moxie is the product, the brand. So like Airstack, we build blockchain technologies. We've been building it for years now. And Moxie is the brand. And really excited to talk to you about how it's going.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to dive right in and kind of give me a journey of Airstack and Moxie.
We have on our team, there's three co-founders, myself, Sarvesh, and Ignis. And we've been working together since 2016 in Ethereum, trying to solve the problems of how do we create better kind of Ethereum kind of on-chain based apps. We started building a creator economy kind of app back in 2017. Realized it was way too soon, so we ended up building a lot of infrastructure. We built stuff like layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum. We built wallet technology. And we built actually an app called Peepo, which was kind of like the first like crypto TikTok back in 2018. We were known for like incredible UX. We had like the first kind of smart contract wallet in an app in the App Store, Apple and Google Play stores. Just way too soon, right? And Airstack we started a couple years ago, so in 2022. And our goal here with Airstack was to essentially, ride this next wave of kind of actual usable on-chain technology. We really focused on kind of social and identity. And we started off in 2022 kind of looking at how do we create better ways to both kind of index, search, and kind of consume kind of on-chain data. So data about users, data about transactions, balances, trades, portfolios, all that kind of stuff. And we got specifically focused because there's a lot of things out there with on-chain data. And we specifically focused around kind of identity and kind of real people. So we want to say, how do you get beyond like the unknown 0x address and focus on people who are maybe have an identity, whether it's on Farcaster or ENS or more recently like base names, and before it was like things like Lens and how do you like identify real people doing real things and kind of build stuff around that. And so we actually built the first kind of AI search of blockchain, and we first did it back in 2022. We were searching Farcaster data using AI. And then we built kind of this like really nifty Airstack kind of APIs, which enabled you to use natural language to search for blockchain data. And the result was APIs. And since about the last year, we kind of turned all of our attention on that into we launched a brand called Moxie, which is the main product that Airstack develops. And Moxie essentially is it's AI-powered on-chain insights and actions, right? So it's like the whole so what is like unstoppable AI-powered on-chain alpha. And we take everything that we've done over the last few years and kind of combine that into Moxie into like this killer product, which I'll happy to walk you through. Yeah.
Damn, I love it. Yeah, and then thanks for the explanation between Airstack and Moxie as a branding company. Look, the term on-chain economy, is part of your mantra at this point, and it does get thrown around a lot outside of what you're building. What does it actually mean for everyday users? What do you think most people are getting it wrong? Happy to find out.
And the on-chain economy is essentially the everything that you can do with your on-chain wallet. So it's apps you can interact with, it's data you can access, it is experiences you can access, it's things you can mint, things you can buy, transact. All of that is the on-chain economy. And I think Base it does a very good job of representing kind of the builders kind of like corner or kind of like ecosystem on the of the on-chain economy. And and I think it's like, so if you think about just think about like Base as an ecosystem. Base is a place for builders, and everyone's building different things that you can do and experience and achieve with the on-chain economy.
That makes total sense. And I remember my first interaction with Airstack and you building it was last year, right, during what I call the Farcaster craze. Basically, I pumped my bags on DGen at that time. I was I saw this message that was like, hey guys, you found the pool 2 hours before announcing it. So I was like, oh, I might as well just buy a little bit now. But that reminded me of how I used to use MySQL and what a pain in the ass was back at Uber when I was doing a lot of analytics for marketing and operations for them, and then seeing if you can do it basically with a text to result model more easily, right? And I wanted to ask you, since you've built these two Web3 products, what's the biggest shift in how you approach go to market today versus when you launched it?
First of all, like when we built Airstack, we went to build like this natural language way to kind of search for blockchain data, and the result was that you'd get back APIs. Essentially, you get GraphQL APIs. And so, but our goal with that all along was like, how do we just enable people just to search and get back natural language responses, right? And so, like, it's so cool how we've come full circle. Like, that's what we're doing now today. It was just too early back then. Like, it would have been like, it probably would have been a couple of years of grinding just to get to where we're at today if we had just been trying to for the user experience level. But we're able to, like, by sitting back and kind of waiting and then working on things that kind of culminate to it, we then were able to just kind of like like nail it now with that, right? Look, I'd say in terms of like go to market and growth, I still am the biggest believer in product led growth. I still believe that like the number one way to grow a product is create something that people love and that they're getting passionate about, and they get value from, they tell all their friends. And I think in the on-chain world, I think since crypto has a lot of like kind of best way to put it, I think it's too excited about the latest hype. And what happens is like the hype cycles in crypto are like a day or an hour or like a week, right? And I try to tell our team is like, don't get caught up in that. If we're building a product that's for long-term value, and like our goal is like, how do we create billions of dollars of value for our users, right? Then we can't just rely on gimmicks and like flash in the pan type of things to grab attention. Now, that's not to say like there are growth things you can do, which we'll talk about, but I think there's still no substitute for just building stuff that people love, right? So you got to build something that people need and that they love using, and like the rest will flow.
No, I agree. I remember, so, this all started, I think, with the points mantra and then the points token, if you remember.
Yep.
So
I actually think the Clanker model is actually really interesting. What they've done is, because they've said, instead of giving people an airdrop, you just help them become the first to buy. But you have to buy. You have to put skin in the game. If you buy it and you buy it early, then maybe you generate. But even that isn't kind of foolproof either, right? Even that is like, people buy it just to get early and then dump it, because it's not that they're like buying to use a product, they're just buying to get an advantage.
Yeah, it's like a rush. It's like it's giving you a high, like any drug for a few minutes. In this case, probably less. But yeah, like onto this, I remember somebody airdropped me wow tokens, but they added an extra zero, so it's worth at some point like 5K.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, don't sell it right away. Like I've been putting a lot of hard.
And I think like, and this is like the industry, like crypto is trying to figure out what to do with airdrops, right? It's trying to figure, like, because everyone thought like airdrops are a way you can immediately distribute your product to tons of people. I think for massive airdrops for let's say layer one blockchains, there's been some success on that, but I think the model is not the right model yet, and the industry still needs to figure it out. And it's not to say that we did it wrong. Like, so many people have like not perfected it, right? It's like as an industry, we've not figured out the right model to use tokens yet fully to get people to try products and continue using products. And I think we were innovative in what we did with Moxie by combining both like an airdrop and a vesting schedule, and then the using tokens while they're vesting, and then an earn drop that you get. And I think that's like better than most. Like, I actually think what we did was more creative and innovative and had more lasting effects. It's because like other projects, like they do the airdrop, like everyone's gone in a week. At least like we still have a lot of people going with us on this journey, but I still think there's a lot to be done to perfect this model. And I debate this with people all the time, and glad we're talking about it.
No, yeah, absolutely. And to me, like the only model that makes sense in the long run is just kind of like the coupon model. You do an activity, you get something that you can still only use within that specific project, right?
Look, what we're doing right now, for instance, with Moxie AI. So Moxie AI requires a token in order to use the Moxie AI, and right now it costs about $50 to use the Moxie AI, and that's market-based pricing. But what we're doing is we're providing essentially what you're saying. We're providing like for people who have other tokens, we're doing like partnerships with them where their users, when they come to Moxie, like we just sniff out that they have that token in their wallet, they get like a 2-week free trial. And so if you get value in that 2 weeks, like then you'll buy the token and continue using it. But the idea is, like, as you said, it's a coupon that gets you something. And then the next thing, you actually have to put some money up and do something yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you started with Farcaster as like, grow into more prominence. Let's say, we were one of the first person to fully tap into the Farcaster boom. What's the biggest growth lesson there that you learned?
Yeah, I mean, Look, Farcaster, I think, myself, lots of other people got really excited about Farcaster because for a number of reasons. One is I really believe in the future of like decentralized social, on-chain social. I really think that it is the right model, especially with Web2 social being kind of like at the whim of the platform and the provider, and that having like open social makes a ton of sense. And then I think also having open social that's programmable makes a ton of sense, right? And by that programmable meaning like that anyone can build an application, anyone can access the users, anyone can use it as like a kind of like an overall distributed, decentralized kind of growth platform. If I look at like the last 9 months of Farcaster, I think that, or last year of Farcaster, you had frames early last year. Everyone was like, wow, this is awesome, right? And like, I think everyone rushed to Farcaster, was like, holy shit, programmable social, amazing, right? And then you had Degen, and everyone's like, free money, woo, amazing, right? And I don't think most people really cared about the Degen tipping; they just cared about the free money, right? And we were at FarCon last year, and which is like the Farcaster annual like kind of user conference, and I was like, guys, at some point the music's going to stop. Like I said, like right now we're spending Yasek's money. Yasek's a guy founded Degen. But what happens when you have to spend your own money, right? Versus like when you have to go buy the token, then things like it's a different story. The music's going to stop. And what we saw over the summer was the music stopped, right? The music stopped in terms of like the value of Degen plummeted. Suddenly people didn't feel as rich anymore. Like June of last year and July were some of like the saddest months on Farcaster in terms of overall usage. And for a lot of it because like people came for the Degen and they left when they were out of money, when it wasn't worth anything, right? And then we had like a couple months of like the Moxie era where like we launched Moxie in August, September. We had like a big hype phase where people were really excited, really using it. But then also like Farcaster itself, like we were struggling how to like work within the Farcaster model, how to kind of really reward engagement. And then Farcaster really had like a dip in usage in kind of like September, October, November. And then we had like the Clanker phase where like, all right, so like Clanker, and first also like Farcaster team was like experiment with channels and figure out what to do there, and then Frames V2 and figure out how to make frames work. And the Clanker phase was then like, okay, everyone can launch a meme coin. And like, it was like, okay, so that's like, people got excited, new kind of sense of energy on that. I think what Farcaster team is doing now, where it's really focusing on kind of back to where we were a year ago in terms of frames. Like I really feel like if the focus had just been on like making frames better and better and better, it's like, it's like, frames is like, it's just apps, right? It's like, it's making on-chain apps that get instant distribution through Farcaster.
What I loved about frames was that to me, it was, you could convert users right there. You didn't have to open a new tab. You didn't have to like open a new like pop-up, right? It was just right there, and you could click on buttons, that were pretty rudimentary, but they got a little better over time. And you could probably even do tracking, right? To see exactly, I used to like design frames for people to kind of do like a frame design journey, and to see exactly which part of the frame. So you have the on-chain app model, right? With 7 frames, so to speak. Where did it stop, right? Where did the user stop? Why? Maybe do like A/B testing. I could see so many ways to grow this, back and forth. Fast forward to 2026, what success looks like for Moxie. What's one major milestone you're aiming for, if not more?
Yeah, I'd say like our major goal this year is to create billions of dollars of value. I mean, it's like couldn't get any bigger. And what I say is like, so we really believe we've been working on this product for a couple of years. We really went full force in this direction from about 6 months ago. We feel like we are on the cusp of something that is just going to be enormous value for the users, for the traders, for developers. And the way we measure that in terms of like every day is the number of users, the number of transactions, the transaction volume. And so our goal this year is how do we activate and show value to, thousands and then tens of thousands and then hundreds of thousands of people, and enable everyone involved to benefit from it. The one thing we're seeing, so Moxie AI is a open source platform for developers. And yesterday we fully launched like the open source of the platform, and already we're seeing tremendous kind of really well reception from developers and excitement about it, and like really great brands too that are coming to us and saying, hey, we're going to build a Moxie skill using this the platform and offer it into the Moxie AI platform. And that we think could really catapult this thing. Like if you have like, as opposed to like teams of like 1 or 2 or 5 developers who are building everything themselves, we're marshaling an army of developers who are building together in a way that's win-win and network effects for everyone. We feel like that's such a winning strategy.
Thanks again for jumping on board. For everybody listening, this is actually mintable as well. So go to Pods.media, mint it there. Listen to it on Spotify and Apple, and we'll see you in the next one. Jason, I do want to have you maybe in 6 months. Maybe not a year necessarily, but to see, look back and see, damn, look where we were 3 weeks into launching,
Awesome.
or 1 day into launching.
One thing we can do is for everyone who mints this, we'll give them 2 free weeks of Moxie AI to try the product.
Perfect.
So we'll follow up with me and Alex, and we'll make it work. But you can tell everyone that mints this, that's what they can get.
Woo! All right. Well, let's do that.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.